Hello, everyone. Wanted to get a rough idea of what the right wing take was going to be on this mass shooting in Las Vegas. Now, I stumbled across the Ben Shapiro show, which is on Daily Wire. I'll try and remember to uh, put the link to the video I'm watching in the description, but I was hoping to do this a la a lot of political commentators do, is they paste in the video into the video you're watching now, like that cut back and forth. But I wasn't able to do that because of copyright issues. So it's just going to be very old school secular talk ish. You're going to hear the video off in the background, and you're going to hear my response to. I'm going to be pausing and coming back to respond to what Ben here has to say. Some stuff, believe it or not, I actually found interesting in this video. I'll just go over a couple of things here. His comments about what was going, what it's like to be shooting a gun and stuff like that, and he clearly has some sort of understanding about weapons, which is not that surprising for me. But I figured he might know. He seems to be quite familiar with that. That's the type of thing I was interested in most. So let's see what he has to say. This is roughly about 6 minutes into the video. So there's about 10 minutes of footage here to comb through, because at about the 17-minute mark he cuts off to a different subject that I think I know what his opinion will be on. But this is him reporting on the mass shooting. He's just gone through a lot of the facts. He's going to continue on here for a bit, so let's listen to what he has to say.
So, I'll explain to you what the law is regarding fully automatic weapons in the United States. Suffice it to say, federal law has forbid the sale of fully automatic rifles in the United States since 1986. So the idea that this was, if some guy went down to the local gun shop and bought a gun, if this was indeed a fully automatic weapon, that is not correct. And you can hear on that tape, it sounds like a fully automatic weapon, right? The difference between a fully auto and a semi-auto, for people who are not familiar with guns, is that a semi-auto you use your burst fire. And usually those bursts are...
Yeah, I figured it might be a fully automatic weapon that he probably got illegally. Watching the video again, he had a much longer take on it, which I thought was a bit glorifying the situation. Most the left wing stuff I've seen is that they've cut down the video to just a short, about his was about 20 seconds maybe. I'm just guesstimating that, but his seemed a lot longer than what I had seen before. But yeah, it did seem like a fully automatic weapon that was probably either modified or obtained illegally, which is fair enough. But he goes on to let you know that actually you can get a rifle automatic. It's just kind of difficult to do, and I don't think this guy, from what we've found out, was able to do that legally.
A machine gun, like with the war movie. That's what a fully automatic weapon sounds like. There is a modification that you can make to some semi-automatic weapons. It can ruin the gun. It can also, if you do it right, then it can apparently make a fully automatic. Or there's also a modification that you can make that allows you to fire using the recoil from the semi-automatic rifle. Basically, you hold your finger in one place, and then there's a stock, a gun stock. Gun bounces back, so it travels against your shoulder, and it allows it to act like a fully automatic weapon. But we don't have evidence that that's what's happening as of yet. According to Las Vegas Sheriff Joe Lombardo, The motive remains unclear, but is not suspected to be terrorism, is all according to Amanda. President Giacomo over at Daily Wire says, he said, at this point we believe it was a local individual who resides here locally. I'm not at liberty to give you his place of residence yet. It's an ongoing investigation at the time. Right now we believe the sole aggressor at this point is seen as staff. Do not believe rumors that ISIS is putting out. Claiming credit for this. ISIS stuff.
Yeah, I give him credit for saying, look, the ISIS had nothing to do with this, which it's highly unlikely that it did. There is no suggestion that this guy had converted to extreme Muslim ideas or anything like that. So I give him credit here for not going off and blaming it on ISIS. And he seems very sure. Like, you'll find here that he does seem to dish out the facts. It's pretty well. It's just later on there's some stuff I'm going to disagree with him on. So stay tuned for that.
ISIS is claimed credit for crimes it did not commit because it wants to make it appear as though it was an act of terrorism. Now, it may come out later it was an act of radical Islamic terror, but we have no evidence of that so far. So please do not spread rumors of that.
Highly unlikely, Ben, it will ever be that.
So far. So again, the girlfriend was reportedly traveling with him, but they are suggesting that she had nothing to do with it at this point. She was apparently found outside the country and had reportedly used her ID to get into the hotel. He was found dead by officers in a hotel room on the 32nd floor. Apparently, when they blew open the door, he killed himself. The suspect's brother gave a TV interview in which he said that there were no warning signs and said that he just snapped. We're going to continue updating and providing you that information.
That was my theory too, that he just snapped.
Real-time update. So, those are all the facts. That's what we know. Okay, those are all the things that we know. That's pretty much it. I mean, like, I'm not aware of anything else. Based on that slim coterie of facts, people are immediately drawing the conclusions they want to draw. And this is one of the big problems in modern politics, is that people are immediately, they have preset conclusions they want to get to, such as gun control good, gun control useful. And they immediately take this and they just shove the square peg into the round hole of gun control.
Okay. He's going to talk here about gun control, and that is probably the most like you go, oh shit, 50 people. I think he's I said at the beginning of this video it's up to 60 people dead. I think he said 63. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back. At the beginning of the video, not a part that I put in. I wanted to respond to the good parts that he put in his video here towards the beginning, but and the stuff about how it can be modified, but it can damage the gun. It's got to be done very carefully. But yeah, that would be people who probably think it might be a good idea. Now, I honestly, like, every time I hear this, I go, "Oh, if they had some sort of gun control, it may have prevented this from happening." I think once we got, I think it was a previous 13 years or something before the Port Arthur massacre, there was like 9 mass shootings in Australia, and they were like, oh, we've got to do something about this. There's been a lot more in America, and it just seems like there's stuff going on there, like with the NRA and stuff, that is preventing this from going forward. So, but let's listen to him talk a bit here. He has some interesting points, but I'll refute some of them and agree with him on some of them.
Even if there's no real evidence at this point that gun control would have made this any better. So Stephen Gutowski of the is very good.
Maybe true. Maybe true, depending on how you implement how you would have implemented the law. at this time we don't. I did see a story that the person that may have sold him the guns said that he probably would have passed the background check. Chances are he might have, depending on what was in that background check. Now, if he were suffering with depression, which may have judging by what you can glean, he may not have. Depending on what was in the background check. Like if you had to, there is an extensive process in Australia before you can buy a gun that you have to go through, and it takes a while. Which, by the way, it should. If you're going to buy a gun, first time you buy a gun, there should be an extensive process, and I said that in the last video. Yeah, so depending on what's in the background check, you may have stopped this, but
the rundown over at Washington Preview is talking about exactly what exactly the gun laws are that are on the books at this point. And as he said, the gun laws regarding machine guns are and have been quite strict for a long time. So since 1986, that is the case. Since 1986, it has been illegal in the United States to buy a fully automatic long gun. Fully automatic firearms, Biskowski talking, fully automatic firearms were registered under the National Firearms Act before 1986, grandfathered in, and are still illegal. However, in order to obtain a legal fully automatic firearm, you must apply to the ATF, pay a $200 tax, and register with the ATF. The ATF has a registry of every legally owned fully automatic firearm and informs local law enforcement of all who own them in their jurisdiction.
Okay. Here's just the point I want to make. Why only those guns? I think there should be a record for every single gun that's out there. There should be like who owns it, and how they keep the gun should be should be known. It should be like registering your car. It's like government would know what car you drive, and it needs to know what type of condition your car is in. So, yeah, why not this? I don't understand. You have no problem them knowing about your car, but with your gun, that's different. So yeah, and the ATF should know every single gun, because all of them are potential murder weapons. Same with the car.
Fingerprints and photographs are required to be submitted along with the registration application. In practice,
yeah,
for several hundred thousand legally registered fully automatic firearms in the United States, they are very hard to obtain. And beyond the registration process, which can take up to 9 months to complete, the price of fully automatic firearms is extremely high.
For those guns, maybe that's true, but it should not be in circulation at all.
The reason this is relevant is because what you'll hear is that
they're very expensive, granted, but
now there are a bunch of people who are putting aside any semblance of reality. In fact, in order to promulgate this political agenda, Hillary Clinton is one of them. So Barack Obama does the right thing. He tweets out basically that this is just horrifying. Hillary Clinton, however, can't stop herself, so she tweets out. She starts in this way.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't think Hillary Clinton is sure, because she recently said that she wasn't going to run again. She said her political career is over, but she may want to still be a political player, and yeah, she's going to imply her ignorance here, but yeah, because I watched a video. She's going to talk about silencers, and I'm going to agree with Ben here, which I hate to do. But But yeah, but if I were an American citizen, I wouldn't have voted for Hillary Clinton. I would have voted for Jill Stein. I would have hoped Hillary Clinton would have won, but I would have been more hoping, praying, and begging for Jill Stein to win. So, because apparently a lot of people, someone I listened to on a podcast said they voted for her too. So Ben here's going to railroad Hillary Clinton, but I think this is an indication that she may be considering running again to try and become president of the United States. So I think that's what this is building up to.
Las Vegas, we are grieving with you. The victims, those who lost loved ones, the responders, and all affected by this cold-blooded massacre. And then she continues along these lines. She says, the crowd fled at the sound of gunshots. It took her legitimately 5 minutes to go political. She says the crowd fled at the sound of gunshots.
Hillary Clinton, what did you expect?
The shooter had a silencer, which the NRA wants to make easier to get. So within minutes, she's already politicizing this and blaming the NRA without any evidence the NRA had anything to do with this. There was no silencer on the gun, obviously, and apparently. She continued along these lines as well, but this was the main thrust of it. So she's blaming the NRA for all of this, and that is just unacceptable. First of all, it's irrelevant. It wasn't using a silencer. It's stupid because that's not how silencers work. The idea that the silencer would prevent people from hearing that, all a silencer does is it prevents damage to the ears of the person who's firing the gun. Silencers do not silence guns. They reduce the volume, of course, but it doesn't sound like it does in Die Hard. Like, if you watch Die Hard, if you watch any of these older movies where somebody puts a silencer on a pistol and they fire it, and it sounds basically like an envelope opening. Right?
Yeah.
Very, very loud.
It's still pretty loud.
The reason that the shooter presumably didn't use a silencer is because silencers can overheat and prevent the firing mechanism from working properly. This guy knew what he was doing. Apparently, multiple firing positions inside the suite of Mandalay Bay, and was firing down into the crowd. Hillary doesn't know what she's talking about. It's relevant. It's ignorant, and it's doing something else which I find really atrocious, and that is doing the same routine I blamed Piers Morgan for back after Sandy Hook, standing on the.
Okay, he's about to go on a tirade here about politicizing it. Disagree with you, Ben. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to say, okay, we're going to have to do something about this. You don't necessarily have to come out and say, here's the policy, but you have to at least come out and say, look, we're going to do what we can to stop this from happening again. We're going to go do what I said in the last video. We're going to have to take a look at and go over our gun laws and do stricter laws, because we cannot let things like this happen again. Now, especially with the last two, like what, 80, nearly over 100 people died. And many more were injured. So, yeah, you have to come out now and say, look, we're going to put me, the Democratic Party has to say, look, we're going to gather everyone up and propose and say, look, here's our proposal. And then, if that doesn't work, make it stricter. And make it and actually say this. Look, if you don't agree to this, we're just going to keep coming out with more, and we're going to filibuster until you agree to it, or do something like that. Because you're still like, no, we're not. Stand and say, look, do what they did. Show pictures of the victims. There's apparently footage out there. Say, look, we cannot let something like this happen again.
In order to make a political point and suggesting that people who disagree with her about things like silencers don't care enough about the word just shot. First of all,
no one ever said that. No one ever said that they don't care. What introducing stuff like gun control laws is about saying, look, shit happened, and We cannot let this stuff happen again. We've got to do all we can to try and prevent it from happening again. No one's saying that it's not possible, but we've got to make it as difficult as possible for people to do stuff like this. Then that's it.
Just a country music concert, I would bet the majority of the people in that crowd are not in favor of Hillary Clinton's gun regulations. Even the people who are in the crowd, even the victims, I'm sure, many of them,
it's like something like 80% or something want stricter background checks. I haven't got the. It's a majority of gun owners want stricter background checks.
People who were, I don't want to speak for people who are dead or people who were shot, so I shouldn't say, but I will say that a lot of people at a country music concert, that's a crowd that's more likely to be pro-gun than other crowds. Hillary Clinton can't even speak on behalf of those people with accuracy. Now, I want to talk in a second about a couple of other reasons.
But you have no problem with it. Granted, he could be right, but I doubt. Judging, it looks like a lot of millennials in the audience too. So, and I'm not sure about Nevada's political leanings. So,
appropriate to immediately jump to legislative proposals without evidence. In just a second, first, I want to say thank you for sponsoring over at 12 hours. So, right?
Okay, that's
Elizabeth Warren's ability, we have to do something now to stop. So we'll talk in a second about what can be done to stop these sorts of things, if anything. But she's not the only one. Richard Dawkins, the famous atheist, tweeted out something quite disgusting. He tweeted out, "Burn Tootin, break shooting, cool dude certain, the Second Amendment rights. Hell yeah." It's supposed to write RAHES, it's supposed to be the Southern accent. Every country has its psychopaths. In the US, they have guns. Okay, well, in Britain, they've been...
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna say something here that's really like he just can't help himself. He has to, like, if someone from the left says something, he's gonna take a shot at it. Elizabeth Warren, yeah, we have to do something about this. She's taking the right approach, and I think if Bernie doesn't run, Elizabeth Warren should run, because either one of those two has the capability of winning the Democratic nomination, and going on to win the presidency. Because Donald Trump's approval rating is in the toilet. It's apparent. I think it's like worse than George Bush's when he left office. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Murdering people. Had multiple terror attacks, including in Manchester, using weapons and bombs.
Cars.
This idea that it's only in the United States we have to worry about this stuff is just not true. But Richard.
Okay, obtaining a gun in the U.S. is pretty easy. That's what the debate is. It's pretty easy to obtain a gun. My understanding, look, you can pretty much walk into a store and pick up a gun. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that's right. Now, there might be certain guns, depending, there might be some more finagling around, but you have that gap. You can't. You've got to be able to narrow stop. You've got to do stricter background. You've got to do enormous, criminal record, psychological record. I think you should have to see it in order to see it. Just bring up the thing on healthcare in America. Let me just say, in the past 9 months, I've seen the doctor quite a bit. I'd say probably rounding up at least twice a month. Nothing's wrong with me. I just happen to have high blood pressure. I've had blood tests. I had to go to the hospital twice last month because there was a concern that something was seriously wrong, and they thought I might need surgery. The only frustrating thing was I had to wait around the first visit for quite a while, a few hours, or more than a few. But it was pretty obvious that there was a whole heap of people in front of me that were much worse off than I was. But I had to pay a grand total. Now, obviously, I had to pay for cab to the hospital. I got picked up afterward. One time by my mother, and the second time I just went back and forth. But a grand total of $0 I had to pay to go to the hospital, and 0 cents. In America, who knows how much that would have cost me? I could have gone bankrupt. But over here, grand total of 0. But yeah, you should have to have a psychological analysis. You should have to visit a therapist before obtaining a gun. And people would probably think twice. And everyone who's got a gun should have to have a license. And there's quite a finagling in Australia about this. I think they have the right idea in safety wise. I think they're very strict. We're very strict about the gun safety here. I think that's more in the line of what I think the NRA members want, not necessarily the board. Look, mate, not everyone's going to believe in it. Not everybody is so up God's ass like you are, okay? But okay, you believe in God, but it doesn't mean everybody else has to. But he's taking a shot. Yeah, I knew he would. It's a bit of a shot.
Again, we still do not know the shooter's motive. This happened last night. We still have no inkling of the shooter's motive. How the shooter acquired his weapon, we still don't know. So suggesting laws that we don't know would stop this guy from acquiring the weapon in the first place is always troublesome. Now, to be intellectually honest, I want to say, you can propose a good law that doesn't necessarily deal with this specific situation, right? It's not like...
Okay. Here's where he goes on about proposing everything else but a gun law. Now is the time you strike while. Now's the time to do it, because everybody's thinking about it. Everybody's thinking, well, what could we do? Well, like, I honestly think, like, yes, you're going to have those people who's like, no, but especially in I know a lot of the South likes their guns. A lot of the middle state, what's known as the flyover state, yeah. But I honestly think now would be the time to talk about this. Like hey, both sides should definitely like come to some sort of resolution. Say, look, okay, look what's happened. What can we do to prevent this from happening? Like, you might not even talk about confiscating weapons, but you might, like, let's say they say, look, okay, we've got to do something. I think even the people who want to sell guns, they probably want to do something about this. They should, but I know it interferes with their bottom line. But you gotta admit, like, there is something going on here. Now, yeah, there's a lot. I'll probably try and remember to link Australian gun laws Wikipedia page to one here. But here we go. This is the last 2 minutes of the clip.
Every law has it reduces the probability of a situation like this. Or if it doesn't even have to do with this situation, but it's going to make things safer generally. Right? You can pass a seatbelt law that has nothing to do with mass shooting, the seatbelt law can still be good. But it's dishonest to suggest that using a situation like this to push a law that would have stopped a situation like this, the two things are related to one another. Right? If you use this to push a child safety law about pricks, that's obviously unrelated. Well, if you use this incident to pass a law or push a law or push a policy that has nothing to do with this particular shooting, again, unrelated is unrelated. And then there's a final point. This is something that we all fall into, whether on the right and on the left. When something bad happens, we immediately come to what could the government have done? What should the government have done? Making policy in the heat of passion is not a good way to make policy. It's why we don't have a democracy. It's why we have a republic. It's to shield policy making from the passions of the public.
There's a lot of back and forth on that. You're a republic, yes, that means you have a representative government decided by a democracy. So, but yeah, there's a, like with the electoral college there, yeah, we gotta, like, honestly, Stephen Crowder talked about that, the really weird clip, and they said, like, it was really weird. It was trying to defend something that's like really shouldn't be. But you look at this and it's like you have a representative, so that the difference between like in a straight democracy, the people make every decision. They vote on it. And yeah, you vote for the people who make the laws, yes, in that situation, and then in Australia too. Actually, we don't directly vote for a prime minister. We vote for our representative, who's in the parliament, which I think is a much better system. I'm still curious to what people's problems are. Like, there is problems with it, yeah, but I think it's a better system than the American system. In some ways, and in other ways, the American system does work. But yeah, I go back and forth on the issue of that. But here is
shield policy making from the problems inherent in getting very emotional and passionate about situations. The fact is that policy.
Yeah, I agree that a lot of the left does have an emotional response to these things, but that's quite true. But I think the right has a problem where they detach themselves from it sometimes. I think that they just, there's a pretty good Family Guy clip that pretty much sums up conservatives, in my opinion. It's where something happens to the Griffin's house. It gets smashed, and it's taken from the back, and Stewie's standing there. I don't like this. I don't like change. And he is really crying like, I don't like change. It pretty much sums up the conservative point of view. They really don't want anything to change, because like they don't change anything, because I don't like it. And to me, change is usually a good thing, if it's done right. If the right thing's done, yes. And I think, in shootings, people's hearts are in the right place, and it's when they're thinking about it, like they're thinking, okay, here's what happened, and obviously once the investigation is done, they'll have a better understanding of how everything happened. So why not start the ball rolling? Because, like, in Australia, in less than 2 weeks, they had a policy, they introduced it, and within a few years, that policy was fully implemented, and it pretty much had a lot of good effects. Yes, there's still crime in Australia, but a lot less people have died because of it. And I think that's a good thing, because it's a lot easier to detach yourself from killing someone with a gun than with a knife, with a hammer, with an iron bar. But like it's a lot easier to detach yourself when you're shooting someone, because you're not impacting their body with stuff like that. So I'll just let it last a little bit here, and then.
It's fascinating when we're at a bit of a remove. Injecting emotional accusations into the process does not make things better; it just makes things more polarized. We saw this after Barack Obama would push gun control after every mass shooting.
As he should have.
Wait a second, are you implying I don't care when people get shot?
No, that's not what he was implying at all.
We're unified in how evil this is. We're Americans, we're brothers and sisters. Polarizing the electorate on the basis of a policy and suggesting that people who disagree with you don't care about things like this is really nasty. No
one says that they don't.
Now is a good time to shut up about policy. It's actually a really good time to contemplate the nature of human evil to gather all the information.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it leaves off there. Listen, Ben here, apart from the shots that he takes at the left regarding the tweets, like it seems like it's pretty standard. You don't the response from the right will be, don't politicize this, when it should be. He goes on there later to say, wait 2 days. No, 2 days is too long. You have to start the ball rolling now. You have to start the ball rolling when this is at the forefront of everyone's mind. That's why I think our policy was so successful. Now, when stuff comes out about this, the policymakers can use that to adjust what they're thinking. Now, I think, honestly, probably revisit the fully automatic law and say, look, no more. Like, if this guy acquired it legally, I don't care how much it costs. It should be immediately banned. Grandfather it in, I guess, and you say, look, sorry guys, we'll give you back every penny plus interest on all these guns. We would like to buy them back. Now, you don't go around to people's houses knocking down their doors or anything like that, but you say, hey, what do you got there? Like you offer to buy them back, and you just hand it into the police station in a secure way. You don't walk in holding a gun. And you have it in a bag and you take it in. The other thing you do, you say, look, we want all gun owners to come into their local police station and list off the guns they own, and how they store them, and everything like that, because I think safety is just as important as everything else. And that way you have a complete record of what everyone owns and all that. This video is going very long. And you then start, and you slowly introduce all further policies. Okay, we're going to make sure it's in a secure place. Annual inspections, like every year, on like your license and everything. They inspect your guns, make sure they're clean, they're well maintained, that you know how to shoot them, and everything. It's not like you'd be proud. Every year you have to go to a gun range to be certified to own a gun and everything like that. And you have to be tested on all the weapons you own, every single one. And you have to have them stored correctly and all that. And plus this provides employment to some people, because there's so many guns that that everyone has to be certified with and all that. You have, and you go under background checks every year, every year you have to make sure that you're well enough to operate the guns. You have to be tested on them every year and everything. How you go about that is I reckon should be a state by state issue, but I think annually is good enough. It shouldn't be longer than that, because and I think any smaller range than that, you're asking a lot of bureaucracy. But I think it should be annually. But if you want to make it every 2 years, I think 5 years is too long. But every 2 years or 3 years maybe at the most. But you should a gun, or if you are pulled up for a crime, or you're under a restraining order or something, you have to hand over your guns. You can't you can't have both sides. Both sides have to hand over their guns. The person implementing the restraining order has to hand over their guns, and the person that is accused of that's having their I think that might be a little bit too much, but anything to reduce something happening would be good. Now, going around, and I think you should take semi-automatics off the shelf to a little bit stricter control on pistols and stuff. But see, I go back and forth on pistols. While they're the most used, they're not used generally in mass shootings. The goal of any regulation should be to reduce mass shootings at the moment. To go around fully implementing what Australia did would not be. I don't think it would be as effective. Because there's so many guns. But if you get caught with a gun and you haven't got a license, you should be punished for it up to a year in prison. And your guns it's confiscated. Your property is searched for more guns, and they're all confiscated and destroyed. And then when you come out, you are not allowed a gun for, let's say, 5 years. Then you can go for your license and get them. And as long as there's no, I think as long as you haven't got a felony, or you are not under a restraining order or under a current investigation, you should be able to get a gun. As long as you don't have a violent past. That's the main thing. Now, anything else? Honestly, it's those are my opinions. But I think they cover I understand that people want to go hunt. They want to be They want to feel safe in their homes, and maybe a gun does that. But it should be in a secure way, and it should be easy enough for you to get in and out of a storage place. Like, it has to be locked up, and it has to be in a situation where if you have children, they don't touch it. And I don't think anyone under the age of 18 should be holding a gun. No. That's my thing. You can debate me about that. You can say 16, and I'll be like, well, not like, I don't think that's mature enough in either side. Like, I've seen immature women, immature men, young men, but at a stretch, I would say 16. But I prefer 18. Like, I think 18, you should be able to drive, drink, and if you feel like it, you can have edible drugs, and you can have sex with anyone above your age, and that should be everything 18. Now, yeah, that's where I defer on Secular Talk. He says 16. I'm like, you clearly don't remember. You don't know a lot of 16-year-olds. Even 18-year-olds, I'm like, well, you're old enough to go to war. You've got to draw the line somewhere, and that's the youngest. Because I've seen a lot more mature 18-year-olds than 16-year-olds. Okay, this video has gone on way too long. I wasn't expecting it to go this long, but I think that fully gives you an idea of my thoughts on gun policy. I think Australia's got the right idea for them, but implementing that in America might be a bit harder, and I think more on the side of safety regulations. I don't fully understand. If there's stuff there that I know that I'm wrong about, guys, put it below. I'll be gladly to say, look, I didn't think about that. If that's a policy that's already in place, say, oh, in this state, that's how it goes anyway. But I think, but I'm fully admit, like, I'm willing to take in. If you got a more right view, and you say, look, I understand that needing guns for home protection, especially in the United States, celebrities and all that, celebrities, politicians, because some of them can be targeted, and they're at the end of the day the last line of defense. But and I don't agree 100% with Jim Jeffries, but I understand where he's coming from. If you don't put a gun in a safe, you put it in a lockbox, and you might not necessarily put it beside your bed. But yeah, you don't want to forget about it. You should. I think putting it in a storage place is the right way to do it. Okay, I'm gonna start repeating myself again here, so I'm gonna go now. Okay, so, but like I said, comment below. Let me know what you think. If it's more than I'm not interested in taking everyone's guns away. I don't think that's the right thing to do. But there has to be a line drawn, and now especially. And yes, this is coming from an emotional place. Lots of people have died, and lots of people have been injured. It's time to try the government, the U.S. government has got to try their best to try and stop this from going on about this. So, see ya.